So John Boyega is back dunking on the Reylos. If you don't know about the Reylos, we'll talk about that in a minute, but just sit back for a second, enjoy this firebrand, and then we'll laugh at the media and everything else together.
Nope. I got that out of my system. What's next?
If you don't know what Reylo is, by the way, these are people that are obsessed with the idea of coupling, or shipping as they call it, two characters together, Kylo Ren and Rey. They've gone to the point that they've threatened Adam Driver's wife. They've gone out and threatened to blow up things. I mean, that's the kind of obsession we're seeing, and I'll show you some of those tweets in just a second. Now, interestingly, the media, they're still a little torn on how to cover this. I mean, you see places like Forbes talking about these being upset Reylo fans and not really throwing them under the proverbial bus. But a lot of places now, they have turned Reylo into the bad guys. John Boyega rips and kicks and punches toxic Star Wars fandom. So these folks now are toxic fans, and they're the ones that Disney wanted to placate, even putting in scenes for them in the movie, giving them emoticons on Twitter. I mean, all of this stuff because they wanted them. John Boyega has the best response to his Star Wars haters. John Boyega strikes back at his Star Wars haters with epic video. Star Wars fans react to John Boyega's trolling video. Star Wars, John Boyega embraces Reylo backlash with insane video. Star Wars, John Boyega claps back at haters, and Twitter here for it. Whatever that's supposed to mean. That is a mess. So first I want to just talk about general creepy behavior. And I like this post here. It gives you a feel for it. So I'm a 29-year-old female, and she's a 32-year-old female. My friend is a huge fan of the big budget movie you might have all heard of, especially a guy character. She spent years buying merchandise of him, writing fan fiction, posting fan art and memes, you name it. It's all she'll talk about sometimes. She has a shrine to him at home and jokes that he's her ideal husband. She hasn't dated since she was 28, and her last boyfriend left her for someone else. So you're talking about a 32-year-old person that hasn't dated since they're 28 and has set up shrines to Adam Driver. She went to the premiere of the new movie this month, and I went with her. And the guy dies. She stormed out of the theater, and I followed her. I thought she'd gotten an urgent text. Nope. She was having a breakdown outside, absolutely hysterical and in tears, bawling her eyes out and screaming because the guy. People looked at us funny. Of course, you know they're going to look at them funny when he dies. I did my best to comfort her. That's what friends are for, right? And commiserated, even though I didn't like the character all that much. She was furious that the guy's co-star didn't step in and protest the director's script and cuss this co-star's name out right outside the theater. Later that evening, I saw a tweet the co-star had many hateful insults and even wished for her to, quote-unquote, get run over in traffic, you whore. The next day, she called in sick. We're co-workers, and the next day after, I texted to ask if she was all right, and she said she wasn't. She was totally traumatized and couldn't see how she could go on. She was burning all of her merchandise and toys as she protested this movie taking the turn that it did. She said his death violated her so much that she was the worst thing that had ever happened in her life. It violated her. I mean, really, the worst thing that had ever happened. She loved the character, saw him as Dark Prince, a fellow victim of childhood. As far as I know, her childhood difficulty was only that her dad walked out on her mom, blah, blah. I tried to be understanding, but lost it at her comparison to much darker events. He's just a movie character. She's too old to act like this, and that I didn't appreciate the comparison comparison to my real trauma that she knows about. Where I might have crossed the line is I told her that if she ever had a day of real sadness in her life, she might not be taking this so hard and acting so ridiculous because only sheltered crybabies would react like this to a fake death on a screen. It's not like the actor died. I called her a child and she couldn't possibly function in real life. We've cut contact. I saw her posting status after status, how heartbroken she is by the movie, how she feels everyone has betrayed her, and this movie put her in a dark place so much that she wants to harm herself and stop eating. That's before she blocked me. This is not outlandish behavior when you come to this fan circle either. This is in fact typical. You can see an entire posting thread of people saying that you're traumatized by this. They need to go out and to get therapy. I mean, they exemplify first world problems. You have many a person saying they can't go on because, they're weighted down by this. Again, that they're seeing people in real life to deal with these situations. I mean, check 2 of these out here. Today, my therapist told me it's valid to be triggered by portrayals of an abusive relationship in a film, and I'm allowed to not want to to expose myself to it. If anyone needs validation for feeling triggered by the rise of Skywalker, she's a licensed professional, and your feelings are valid. Your feelings are not valid. These are first world freaking problems. The next one, for all the people editing on us for grieving, my actual therapist, who is qualified to give opinions on mental health, says that the feeling this grief is normal. It's something we all looked forward to, and now it's gone. It's a loss, so F whoever says it's not. Yeah, it's not. In fact, when you see this behavior in adults, what it says is that you've closed yourself off to the world. Yes, you can have something sad that impacts you in the moment. I've seen video games and other media do that, but you know what? Normal people can let that go. People who are obsessed with this idea, that have been obsessing over it for years, yeah, they can't. And this, it showcases. Then we get into the threats. I mean, some of them are actually against cast members while people are being stalked. Some of them talk about going out and damaging Lucasfilms. You can see that in front of you. Some of them actually make pointed threats saying that this is the hill that I want to basically stand on because J.J. Abrams did this, therefore. Now, when you look at the cast member portion, I think that this is the craziest nonsense. You have Adam Driver that gave an interview to the New York Times wherein he talks about Reylos stalking him. That's right, stalking the man, accosting him in a parking lot, giving him paintings of his pets, and talking about how they want to threaten the wife and child of the man because, that's normal. That's typical behavior. I mean, these folks are so obsessed with the idea that he and Daisy Ridley should be together, they think that it crosses over into the real world, and that's troubling. You have the other side of this, too, where he has a quote here. This one woman who has been harassing my wife came to the show and gave me a creepy wood carving that she made of my dog. Then he goes forward and he talks about how his young son had not been discussed. He had hid his child from the media. Did it for 2 years, in fact, until there was a mistake. Apparently, his wife's sister went out and was launching a peacoat business and accidentally made her Instagram account public, and someone noticed the back of his son's head in a picture. That's all it took, noticing the back of his son's head in a picture to get that in the crosshairs. I tell you, too, I've seen some absolutely insane behavior pointed my way, and I have nothing like this. I can only imagine how crazy it gets. Like I say, this is one of the most telling bios here that I've seen. A person saying they went out to see Rise of Skywalker, and now look what they want to do to Lucasfilms. Yeah, that's not crazy. That's not unhinged. You see a worker talking about this as well, saying, I love to have to wonder if I literally need to alert the FBI to threats against my workplace. Oh, happy holidays, I guess. Because we had the audacity to make a movie you didn't like. You have entire stockpiles of people people again talking about how J.J. Abrams needs to be harmed because you humiliated and lied to us. You will regret this because of it. You will regret this indeed. I mean, again, I understand having a problem with a show. I get that idea, but I do not get the idea when this crosses from fiction into reality. And when you start stalking a person's family because you don't like the outcome of a movie that they do not impact. That's why I've enjoyed seeing posts like this from John Boyega in the past where he talks about Star Wars romance. And yeah, this is the thing that they've become obsessed with. The idea that somebody has gone out, that has attacked someone over and over again, stalked them at the end of the galaxies, but hey, who cares? He posts this up. I think that that's hilarious. And interestingly enough, I like this as a closing. All of this is highly unusual, as you rarely see high-profile actors and fans go head-to-head this intensely. Boyega comes off as being amused by all of this, while his detractors are shocked he's putting this much effort into his side of a flame war. Is this the best idea on his part? That's debatable, I suppose, but from the outside, this is something somewhat gratifying about seeing a celebrity take on legions of their haters directly like this. I don't know if this is the end of the saga, but since it seems unlikely Boyega is staying in the Star Wars franchise, this should fade eventually. But for now, it's some sure to behold. Now, you know what? It may not fade at all because he can continue to do this. It may not get as much attention, but he could do this for time after time, and it would be a lot of fun. Anyway, you tell me what you think. Very briefly, I also want to say thank you for showing up. Thank you for participating. You made this stuff possible. Those places out there like Disney that placated these folks, they forgot who their real fans were, and woe be it unto them. They brought this out, and I hate that this exists, but they are the ones that built it. I never want to be these people. So I want to say thank you for showing up. Thank you for participating. Again, you make these channels work. You can help out with interaction, subbing, and all of that. But just being here, I appreciate you for it, and I won't take up any more of your time.